Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Board Gaming Doctor. My name is Phil, and today we are playing Caverna Cave versus Cave. So this is the big box edition. I'll show you the box here. So I've got the big box, gonna hold it straight, which includes the base game plus, which is Era 1, and then Era 2 expansion. And so this was inspired by a video that I'm making in regards to Caverna Cave versus the other dual versions of the other big box games from Rosenberg that were released around 5 to 10 years ago. So I wanted to play this and see how well we do. So I'm playing this solo. Most everything is pretty much the same except for a few caveats, just in case you don't know. Every time that I excavate and reveal a building, I will reveal one more from the pile here and add it to our stock here to search for new buildings, essentially to try to build. In addition to that, there was one more item that is different in this game. Each time you excavate exactly one tile. Oh, so yeah. So the big difference in this game compared to the two-player version is every time that I excavate exactly one tile, or in other words, reveal a building to the supply that I can build from, I I need to reveal one random one from the top of this stack to add to the pile to simulate the other buildings that are made available during a two-player game and have those available there. So that's essentially the biggest difference here. So let's go ahead and start. So we will reveal the undermining building, which lets us activate two buildings or excavate even through walls. Fantastic. And then we have the regular actions that we have depicted there. Over for the buildings, the starting buildings that we have available, we start with, I think, 3 out of the 6, so half of them. The spinning wheel, which costs 1 wood, we turn, I believe this green resource is called an emmer in the rulebook. So we spend an emmer to turn that into a gold, or 3 emmer into 2 gold. And then the food corner, we can raise our food up to the 3rd spot here. Pardon the glare. I figured this is probably the least important piece of the game to have glare, and also when I play Era 2, I will set that up, and the next part of that cave will come into play here in the middle. And then finally the tunnel, which gives us 2 food and a stone to maximum of 3 stone. So there we go. Okay, so off the bat, we get to take 2 of these actions, as we have 2 dwarves depicted here in era, or not era 2, but in the first phase. And by the way, the goal is to get 50 points. Well, I should say 50 points by the end of era 1. I believe it's 180 points after era 2. So that's our goal, is to get to 180 or more victory points. So early on, I'm thinking of opportunities to excavate and bring as many options as possible in terms of what buildings I want to see in the course of play. And I think the fastest way to be able to do that is, I'm looking at this food corner. If I can build this food corner, and every building has a depicted configuration of walls that need to be adjacent to it. It doesn't have to match this exactly. But for example, if I excavate here in this corner, since I start here in the cave entrance and have access to excavate any of these buildings right here, if I excavate this one in the corner, I would allow myself to have room to place the food corner and at a future time activate it to gain some extra food, which can get me some extra excavation opportunities there. So let's go ahead, and I have two opportunities and actions since I can only excavate one building anyway. Let's go ahead and activate the excavation action. So that gets me one stone, allows me to excavate this building here, which reveals the dungeon. So that's a cost of 3 stone and 4 gold. And it says it has to be surrounded by 4 walls as well. But I think, so according to the appendix, each time you build a wall on either cave board, either the first or the second one, oh, I guess on either cave board, if that's the 2-player game, gain up to 2 gold. You can gain the gold before or after placing the wall. This is the second most valuable room in Era 1. Cool. So that is a pursuit to look for, but since we excavated once, we get to reveal the bakehouse, which gives us an opportunity to convert grain into food and gold. Cool. So we're going to need some gold to be able to build out the dungeon and do other things as well. Okay, so that was the excavation turn. Let's go ahead and build. So the only way to build is actually to do housework. Now, the housework action says that we need to spend 1 food per dwarf in the current phase, I suppose, which is 2. So we need to spend 2 food, and the subsequent payment for the room itself in order to build it. And if we had 5 wood and 1 gold, we could also build a second one if that is how I'm interpreting that correctly. Yep. So we do have 1 gold. So we do have the opportunity to build another building too. And the other one that we could build would be the spinning wheel. We could build that right here if we spend that gold. And we have the opportunity to gain more of that gold if we spend our emer. But the fact is, I would need to also consider spending another resource in order to get food. So any of the other resources, donkeys included in the next era, would, so gold, emer, and grain also count as a food. So what I'm thinking is we spend 1 food and then 1 grain as a substitute for food to be able to afford to build out the housework, or use the housework, the first one, and we'll spend 1 stone to build the food corner in the corner. And then let's take advantage, let's spend 1 gold and put out the spinning wheel here, since it only needs to be adjacent to 1 wall in order to be built. And I spend 1 wood to place that there. So that was the housework action. So easy enough. Now we reset those actions and reveal the masonry for the second round. So that lets us activate a building, it gives us a wood or a stone, and then it allows us to build a wall. With the solo version, I have the Era 1 quote-unquote walls available to build with. I am not allowed any of the additional walls that come in Era 2. That is strictly for the 2-player game. So, all right. So looking at this, I'm thinking, where can I place some of these buildings, right? And one other stipulation too. So you always have to have more orange than blue buildings. So I could build the dungeon if I could immediately. I couldn't right now, of course, but I'm thinking, and I'll double check too, but this corner here would be the best spot to build either the bakehouse or the dungeon. And I think if we excavate through these tiles and then build a wall here, we would be able to house the dungeon. So I'm going to double check and see if that is something we can do. That's confirmed in the rules. A clear path is not required. So all that it does require for us, we do need a clear path in order to excavate. So I'm thinking we go ahead and let's go ahead and activate um, a couple of buildings, right? So if we can activate 2 buildings with the undermining ability, we can bring our food back up, and the spinning wheel, we could gain a gold, which would allow us to build a second building. Of course, being excavating out this way, we still wouldn't have enough money or gold rather to build out that dungeon in that corner yet. So we may not need to go that deep into the dungeon yet. Another option is to excavate out this way up to the superior portion of the cavern here. And if we like place a wall over here, we would have enough walls for the bakehouse. So that's another option too. So I like first the option of doing the undermining ability. Let's activate 2 of our buildings. So let's go ahead and we do have these tokens to help us keep track of the buildings we activate. So let's go ahead and activate the food corner. That brings us our food up to 3. And then the second building will be the spinning wheel. Now, we could go to the cave entrance and get another emer. Because it would be nice to spend all of that to get 2 gold, because we're going to need a lot of gold. See if we... So some options, right? So we can activate the spinning wheel, take 1 emer or emer and convert that to a gold, or do the cave entrance to get an emer, and then activate the cultivation building to get 2 grain, 1 emer, and then that will give us enough to activate the building, the spinning wheel, to gain 2 gold. That's probably the most effective thing to do. And then in the next round, we could excavate a little bit more to set ourselves up for the bakehouse. So let's try that. Let's see what happens. So we're going to do the cave entrance to finish up our action to give us 1 emer. So that takes care of that. And then we're going to do the cultivation. So we're going to first gain our resources, 2 emer and, or sorry, 2 grain and 1 emer. I think this is flax actually, even though it's the grain meeple from Agricola. And then we're going to activate the spinning wheel. So go ahead and get rid of our emer, get our gold. We're moving on, setting ourselves up for some excavation. Now we have the furnishing option. So that gives us a food and the same exact ability as housework, except we don't have the opportunity to build 2 buildings with the housework action. So let's go ahead and excavate. And I wanted to get some food so we can excavate twice with this action here. So, and give us some extra stone. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's excavate and spend 2 food to excavate twice. So we're going to do these 2 here and reveal them. So we have the prospecting site, which allows us, when we take the undergrowth action, which is depicted here, to spend a food to gain a gold. That's really nice. Okay. And then the junction room. which says when activated, pay 3 different goods to gain up to 2 gold. So that's nice too. So we've got some good opportunities to gain gold. And it's oh, I really like the prospecting site. I think we are able to build that one straight away. I would love to get the dungeon out though first in order to also allow for us to get some gold while we build walls. So that's something that we would need to do for the bakehouse, also for the junction room, the tunnel. Those will require walls in order to be built. So here's what I'm thinking. This is our last 2 worker opportunity to build in this round. So let's go ahead. Let's do the, is there not, yeah, we wouldn't have the opportunity to build 2 buildings yet, but maybe we don't need to, so we can prepare for the future. Let's go ahead and take the furnishing action, gain a food. The prospecting site does not need any um, any resources to build it with, so that's nice. And then it fits right here because the white building depicted there is optional. So we need to spend a food though in order to build, or sorry, 2 food. So that takes care of that. And yeah, so we're just setting ourselves up for the future here. Okay, so now we're in the second phase. We can build or use 3 actions per round. And my cat is looking at the board. You want to be the second player? You better stay there, okay? All right. So we have the expedition, which is spending 5 wood or 5 stone to convert that into 4 gold, or to activate 3 buildings. So right now our focus is to hopefully get some food to build buildings with, and also 2 more gold and some stone in order to build out the dungeon. And we do need to get the wall built over here. So we do need to excavate again. So let's go ahead and activate some buildings here. If we do the undergrowth, okay. So if we do the undergrowth action, we get to activate we could activate the food corner, getting us to 3 food. It gives us 2 wood, and it also allows for us to spend a food for an extra gold. And I can't forget about my goal to get to the dungeon. So maybe I should have built out this way first, but I mean, we're going to excavate throughout the cave anyway. And that got us the prospecting side, I suppose. So yeah, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So we're going to do the undergrowth first. We're going to activate the food corner, which gives us up to 3 food. We're going to get 2 wood and then spend 1 of those food to gain a gold. Then I can immediately excavate now to reveal these buildings and set myself up to use the masonry to build a wall and have the dungeon ready to go. So yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go here, gaining an extra wood. We're going to spend 2 food to activate or reveal, sorry, the secret chamber. which either gives us 3 emer or 1 gold. And then here, the reading room. So whenever we gain emer, we also gain a food. So that's cool. So the secret chamber actually combos somewhat well with the spinning wheel to like gain that resource and then convert it into gold. And the secret chamber could go here. Although I do like the dungeon first, I suppose, and then we can try to like build out the secret chamber up here and get that going as well. So yeah, so the next thing we want to do anyway to finish out this turn is to do the masonry. So the first of our 7 walls is going to come down here. We'll gain a wood or stone, but also activate a building. So I think we're going to go ahead and activate the food corner again. Gain all that food once more to do some housework, right? Or something else. And then as far as other resources that we can use now, I guess it's 6s. I'm looking at the costs for some of these rooms. It looks like we're going to need more wood, perhaps, or oh no, we actually need we need 1 more stone. I forgot for the dungeon, so I think that's what we're going to have to do. Okay. So moving on, expansion. So this one lets us excavate and then same turn, 5 food or 2 gold in order to place a building. So we need 1 more gold in order to build the dungeon. And I'm looking at ways we could do that. The best way would be to do the undergrowth action again. So, I mean, we could activate the cave entrance, which would give us something to work with. Perhaps another wood to facilitate some building of other rooms. So let's do that. We're going to gain, or actually, maybe another stone, because we're going to gain 2 wood from that. Let's activate the cave entrance to gain a stone, and then we'll pay a food. Yeah, we'll pay a food to gain a gold. And I think this is okay because I just realized we're going to need extra food now that we have 3 workers out this round to do some housework. Now we're going to spend all of our gold to place out the dungeon, I just realized, so I think we're going to have to take the furnishing action anyway. So that gives us an extra food, and we have to pay 3 food now in order to furnish. Let's put out the dungeon. We still have 3 orange buildings. We can't build our reading room quite yet, but we do have that, and that was our goal. And now we gain extra gold when we build a wall. So maybe we think about doing that because I want to perhaps set myself up for the bakehouse here. If we place a wall here, we would allow ourselves to be able to do that. And then maybe the secret chamber over here. Yeah, I kind of like that option. So let's just do it. Let's go masonry. That allows us to activate a building and gain some wood. So I'm going to gain a wood to potentially set us up for the expedition. we're going to build a wall right there, and that gets us 2 gold. And we get to activate a building. Let's do the food corner. Let's gain that food again. Okay. So that is that. We are already on the last part of phase 3 before we reach era 2. It's a quick game. So I would like to excavate twice to get these buildings out, allowing us to build out a wall. Or do we build the bakehouse first? Because if we do that, we do have enough flax in order to gain some gold and food. And we're going to need a lot of food in order to like activate the housework twice, which, well, I guess we could potentially do that because we could put the reading room out here. That would fit. And if we do build out the bakehouse and secret chamber here, right? Or build another wall here, and that would allow for that to be built. Yeah, we would be fine having room for the reading room. So actually, I think I might want to place the bakehouse out first. But the problem is we need an extra stone in order to build that out. So I'm racking my brain. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to proceed. I don't think there's an easy way to get to where I want to go. And so I'm just trying to think of what's the most efficient thing to do. And I think getting the bakehouse is going to be the most important thing for me to do in order to progress this game. So I'm thinking we find a way. Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's do the excavation. We'll gain a stone. I think we will spend 2. Let's just go ahead and get these buildings out and see what we have. We've got the gold vein, which costs us 5 gold, and it allows us to gain a stone and a gold. And then the warehouse, which allows us to spend 2 food to gain 1 of each of those depicted resources. Pretty good. But anyway, so we did reveal this, which means we immediately gain a food, so that's nice. Yeah, okay, so we gained our stone, we gained a food. We are ready to build the bakehouse, and I think we're going to need to utilize. We wouldn't be able to do the housework because we wouldn't have enough food. Well, we would. I think we would. Oh, but we also want to. Oh, if we could get the secret chamber out too, as well as the bakehouse, we would need an extra stone to do so, and the masonry does do that. And it allows us to gain an extra gold. 2 gold. Hmm. So maybe we figured it out. So if we do the masonry action. Oh, yeah, we wouldn't be able to activate the bakehouse yet, but that's okay. So if we do the masonry, we get another stone, first of all. We place out a wall to gain 2 more gold, and we activate a building, which could be, I guess, the cave entrance or the food corner would gain us a food. Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do because then we activate housework. So we spend 3 food in order to spend a wood and 2 stone to place the bakehouse here. And then we can spend a gold and as well as 2 wood and 1 stone to get the secret chamber out. Okay, so I think we did it. We got those buildings out that we wanted to get out right before Era 2. So I'm going to set up for Era 2. We're already there. And kind of explain what happens next after we do so. Okay, so now we are set up for Era 2. So the main addition is, of course, the Era 2 board. The new entrance to the board is right here. We've set it up very similarly to Era 1. We placed 3 new Era 2 buildings here out of the 6 available that are the starting buildings. We'll go over those in a sec, but we add a couple of new resources as well. We have a weapon resource at 1. We have iron, the blue iron. We have ore and donkeys. So yeah, some additional points to point out is now that we're in 4, we have now the weekly market. We also have a bonus. So if we take this action, we get this bonus action as well. So this gives us like 3 or an iron or 1 donkey. And so that is available for us. Yeah, so we have some options here. So the ore vein is free to build. You can kind of go anywhere. It just gives us an injection of 3 ore and 2 food when we activate it. The bloomery allows us to exchange ore into iron and gold. And then the box gives us emmer, wood, and a donkey. Cool. Okay. So one thing to point out as well is the weekly market gives us an extra symbol here. So we get to activate, essentially means the same thing as the activate 2 different buildings. It's 1 plus 1. There are some interactions with some other buildings that it does not essentially work with, and so I don't think we need to worry about that for now. Essentially, it tells us to activate 2 buildings, orange buildings. So, okay. So now let's think about what to do. So I still like the opportunity to get the reading room out, which would allow us to um, combo well with the spinning wheel and secret chamber. By the way, any resource that was at 0 got bumped up to 1 uh, during the switch over to Era 2. So let's go ahead and try getting the reading room out. It needs 1 wall, and so I can see that going here or here. It wouldn't fit right here for now. So we could build, okay, we could do that, but we also, we have the opportunity to actually build a couple of different buildings here. Your option is the box here. So I like the opportunity to, I guess, get the reading room and the box out. So we can do the reading room here, or the box here, actually, and then the reading room here. Yeah, actually, either way, it doesn't really matter. But doing so would give us some opportunities to activate some buildings and to gain some gold while we're at it through those means. We do have the opportunity to activate the bakehouse too now since we've built it, which would allow us to gain some food and gold. And so if we had the opportunity to gain another wheat, or flax, I should say, then that would set us up pretty well for a bakehouse action. But we also need one to build the box if we want that. One thing to keep in mind too in between rounds is per donkey that we have, we gain ore. And so having some ore here would allow us to use buildings like the bloomery, which would allow us to convert some ore. So that also is something to keep in mind. And I like the idea of having the box out and then having the opportunity to gain the reading room and using those two to gain gold and emmer and gold respectively. So first of all, we do have enough resources to build those buildings. Do we have the requirement that we need in order to do housework, though? Not yet. However, the weekly market is actually a very interesting idea here because we could spend 2 gold to get 6 food. That would allow us to um, do the housework for sure. We have 3 gold. So what if we do the weekly market first? Let's do this. So, and then we also get a bonus here. So, I like the idea of getting a donkey. We'll do that first. And then let's spend 2 gold to gain 6 food. So now we're at 7. Awesome. And then we get to activate 2 buildings. So we could we could do the cave entrance to gain a flax, and that way we could have 1 to build the box with, and then the other 2 to use with the bakehouse to gain some extra food and gold, which we'll need to build with as well. So let's do that. So we're going to do cave entrance because I'm not going to activate the spinning wheel yet because I want to wait until we have more. So let's gain an extra flax, and then we'll do the bake house. We'll spend 2 in order to get 4 food. Stipulation here, so we're at 7 food, is we can only have up to 9 food. Unlike gold, which has a backside and the weapon as well. It only has, yeah, the opportunity to gain. We only have the opportunity to gain up to 9 food, so that might not be the best thing to do right now. What if we do this instead? We keep the flax where it is. Let's do the secret chamber. Let's gain emmer, and then we'll do our spinning wheel. We'll spend 3 of it to gain 2 gold. Just start getting gold. So we've done that. Then we can do the housework action. So we have to spend 4. So that brings us down to 3 food. We spend a stone to get the reading room out. And then we can spend a gold to build out the next room, which is the box. So that's 1 flax and 1 wood here. Okay, perfect. So we've done that. Then thinking about what to do next, the bloomery is the other building that I think I would like to get for sure. It would be nice to gain some donkeys as much as possible. But so I'm thinking, so I need 2 stone in order to gain that ability to play that car or that building. So we could potentially just gain stone the old-fashioned way by um, doing like an excavation as well as the masonry action. That would get us enough stone as well as allow us to activate some buildings as well as explore some options here. So let's do that. So let's go ahead and excavate. We're going to spend 2 food to excavate twice. Let's see what this one is. The weaponsmith. Ooh. So that allows us to turn iron and wood into a bump on our weapons track. Okay. And it's worth a lot of points too, so that I like that. Let's go ahead and then excavate this second one here, which is the weapon chamber. So we need to spend 4, okay, in order to build that. So that could be a good option to build up here in this corner as well. So we've excavated, we're going to gain a stone. There's not a lot of space for stone. And then we could do the masonry action. Just thinking, where would we want to put that wall? Because I'd ideally like to build a wall here. And looking at some of the other buildings that we need, that I'm thinking about getting, like what looks good to me is the bloomery. The gold vein is not bad at all. That's 9 points. The weaponsmith looks fun. That, yeah, kind of combos into the weapon chamber a little bit to afford that. Um, so, I mean, we could put a wall like right here, and that should be nice. Okay, so let's do that. We'll gain 1 stone. We know we want that stone. We only have 4 walls left, so I think we'll be okay. Oh, and I forgot we revealed that, so we do gain an ore. Nice. Okay, and then we get to activate a building. So what if we do the box? Yeah, let's do the box so we can get some donkey, some wood, and an emmer. And since we did gain some emmer, we do gain a food as well, thanks to the reading room. Okay, perfect. So that's 4. So move on to the next round. So for every donkey, we have 3. We gain 3 ore. So we're going to need to spend that ore soon so we don't max out. Decoration. So if we spend 5 food or 1 gold, we get to put out a building. And we can spend ore right here as a bonus action to gain iron. Iron will be important somehow, I can sense. Okay, so we have the opportunity to put out the weaponsmith. If we gained 1 more gold, we would be set up for that. I forgot to gain 2 gold from the dungeon because I placed out a wall. I'm pretty sure I forgot to do that. So yeah, so we are set up to build the weaponsmith. We have enough to do that with. Um, we could do the decoration and just spend all of our gold to get that out. In order to get some iron as well. And that way we can start using iron to increase our weapon and get that weapon chamber out too. So let's do that. So spend a gold and then spend 3 gold and a wood in order to place the weaponsmith here. Perfect. Good. Okay. And then we get to, let's spend all of our ore to gain 3 iron. Cool. we need to excavate these two buildings out as well. So we can take the excavate action. Let's do that. So 2 food, gain a stone, and we will reveal the iron trader. And the gold ass. So that's, we gain a gold for every 2 donkey. Never seen that before. That's hilarious. Okay. And then the iron trader, whenever we activate a building with a weekly market or 2 buildings, we gain an iron. Hopefully we find something that really lets iron benefit us. I hope. Yeah, so let's keep going towards the thing that we wanted to do. So let's do the masonry next. I like the idea of building a wall first, so let's do that here. Let's get our gold before we forget. And then let's activate the weaponsmith. So we'll spend a wood and an iron to bump up our weapons up 2 spots. So we need to get it a little bit higher or 1 more for the weapon. Yep. And then wood or stone. Let's see. Let's go for wood. Because maybe we think about the iron trader as a potential building here. I think that'll work out just fine. Yes. Okay. So that's 3 out of our 4 actions. So let's think about the next thing we need to do. Oh yeah, I guess we can think about activating some buildings here. What if we, because I want to activate the weaponsmith as well as, I mean, maybe the secret chamber and spinning wheel to gain some gold. That might be an option. Because I feel like, gold is points. I think it's 1 point per gold at the end of the game. And so, of course, we could spend that gold to build the gold vein as well, which I think would be nice. So let's go ahead and activate. Should we activate 3 buildings? We could get rid of all of our donkeys here with the weekly market to gain 6 food, and that would set us up for a housework action as well. That might be good. Let's do it. Oh yeah, and then we also get to activate that. I do want to keep the bloomery option available, so maybe we spend iron. Oh, sorry. I'm not thinking about that right. So let's do the weekly market action. So we're gonna spend a wood and an iron to gain 2 more weapon value. Each weapon value is worth a point at the end of the game. Iron is worth half a point, and I believe ore is half a point as well. So we activated the weaponsmith, and then let's go ahead. We could do the box. Let's do the box. So emmer, wood, and donkey. Getting that emmer gets us an extra gold. Or sorry, an extra food from the reading room. And then we can spend 2 gold, right? Do I want to spend all that gold now? I suppose it's okay. No, I want to save the gold. Yeah, I want to save the gold for the gold vein. Let's go ahead and spend 3 donkeys to get 6 food. So that's 7. And then we do need to take this action. Maybe we just go ahead and gain that extra donkey. Yeah. Keeping our options open. So reset. We'll move our ore up to 2. Interior design lets us excavate and then build a wall. And then we can spend any number of iron to get, any number of iron to get weapons. So that is very important for points. So that's converting a lot of iron into points. I like that. But first, let's go ahead and build out some buildings that will gain us a lot of victory points, right? If I can get 3 gold, then I would have enough to build the gold vein and then the weapon chamber all in the same go. If I get 2 more food, then I can activate the housework with just food and save that gold for. Oh, perfect. Actually, I think I figured out how to do it. So if we activate 3 buildings, of course we can always use. Yeah, we can always use some extra food. Yeah, so let's go ahead and activate 2 or 3. Maybe we just need to activate 2. Might need to just go back to the weekly market. No. Okay, watch this. All right. We are going to go and do the expedition. So let's go ahead. We'll do the box first. So that gets us an extra food. Then we'll do the secret chamber. Like that. That gets us another food because of the reading room. And then we'll do the spinning wheel. Oh, actually, nope. Let's do the secret chamber for gold. Yeah. And then we'll do the spinning wheel. So second one, and then third building, spend 3. Yeah, this is right. Spend 3 of those to get 2 gold. Perfect. Okay. So that's the expedition. Let's do housework now. So first we spend 4 food, 4 weapons to put out the weapon chamber here. And then we'll spend 5 food. So we can spend, we'll spend this flax rather to put out the gold vein here. Perfect. Okay. Some good buildings there. So next, I do want the bloomery building out as well. So we're going to need an extra iron. Oh, sorry, an extra gold. We need a gold somewhere, and then we can build it. So, I mean, we have a lot of options here. We could excavate. or sorry, we could activate some buildings here, like weapons chamber, the weaponsmith as well. We could go to the undermining. Yeah. What if we do this? What if we do the undermining action? Or sorry, undergrowth. No. I mean, the undergrowth would give us a gold if we spend a food, but the undermining would allow us to activate 2 buildings. But I just need 1 gold. But I'd love to activate these buildings twice. It doesn't get me a gold, though. Of course, I can activate the spinning wheel to do that as well. It would be nice to actually get another gold because I think, oh, yeah. Ugh. If I could get some more, I might want to save the decoration for later. As we get some more ore and convert that into some iron opportunity. So yeah, what's the best way? What's the most efficient way to gain some gold? I mean, the gold vein just gives us a gold straight up, and so actually, what if we do the undergrowth? Because I can convert an emmer into a food, so that way I can turn a food into a gold, and then I can activate. Well, I guess I'm not really activating another building, so maybe it's just worth doing the weekly market, I guess, because I can activate 2 buildings here, gain a lot of food. Yeah, I think that's worth it. Okay, so how about we do this then? We'll do the secret chamber. We'll gain 3 um, emmer to gain and then gain a food. We'll do the spinning wheel, get our 2 gold from that. And then we can spend all of our donkeys to gain 6 food. Set us up for a build later. And then how about we just gain some ore? Yeah, might not need to use donkeys. They're not worth any points at the end of the game anyway, so I think that's going to be okay. Yep. And then let's just finish out by, yeah, let's do the decoration action as our last action, right? Yep. So we'll spend 5 food and then 2 stone and 1 gold to put out the bloomery. Put that right there. Cool. And then we can spend 5 ore to gain 3 iron. Good. Okay. Let's enter the final round. So we've got the arms trade, which allows us to trade gold in for, oh yeah, no ore is gained, to gain weapons and donkey or a wood. So, yeah, I think I've built out the most that I wanted to. We could excavate um, and build a wall for an opportunity. So let's excavate once here. We've got the hitching post. Oh, and the ceremonial hall. Wow, 14 points. Costs 8 gold and 2 weapons. That's a lot. So I don't think we're going to get to that. The only other building that looks viable right now is actually the Iron Trader, which would be nice, I suppose. Yeah, that could work, actually. Anyway, so we did that. We get to put out a wall. Oh, we revealed a food, so that's good. Let's put out a wall here to gain 2 gold with our dungeon opportunity. And then we get to convert iron. Let's do 4 so we can save 1 for the weaponsmith here. So 4 iron for 4 weapons. Trading those in for points. All right, so after having done that, it will be nice to activate some buildings again. Like, I would love to activate the weapon chamber, the weaponsmith, and I guess I guess we didn't really get a chance to do the bloomery. We kind of spent all of our ore doing the decoration. So yeah, I suppose that didn't work out quite as planned, but I guess it's points. I'm thinking like getting the Iron Trader out. Actually, let's focus on getting that one out first, so that way we can activate some buildings and then get some points there. So the best way for us then to build our next building. Another thought. Another thought is okay. Um, we have the ore vein, which can give us some ore. You can use that ore to convert that into iron and points. And then, or I guess we could do the weekly market that can get us some iron as well. Okay, let's do this. Let's do the weekly market. And if we do that, I don't see the need to get a lot of food unless actually I think that'll be okay because we can use a lot of that food for housework. So let's do this. Weekly market. Oh no, no. Actually, first before we do that, we want the iron trader so we can get the extra iron. So, we could do the furnishing. That would give us enough food to do that, but I guess it's not the most efficient use of our resources, but um, I mean, we could do the housework now. Yeah, let's just do that. Right? Because we can spend 3 food and substitute 1 food for with emmer. That would get us enough to do the iron trader here. And then we spend a gold to just build the ore vein for, just 2 points, right? So that's our 2 buildings, yeah. And then we come to the weekly market. We activate both the weapon chamber and the weaponsmith. So we'll gain that extra iron for doing that. Weapon chamber activates, spend that for 2 more weapons there. And then we also can spend 2 gold for 6 food, but that I don't think we really want to do that. Yeah, so I'm okay not doing that. And then we'll gain an iron. What if we gain ore? Oh, actually, let's gain ore. Yeah, because then we can come to the expedition to activate 3 buildings. So, oh, actually, Iron Trader wouldn't work there, but that's okay. We'll just finish up the game as it is. So we'll do Bloomery for 3 iron and a gold. Do the weapons chamber, and then spend that last wood and an iron to gain that extra weapon. Okay, and that's 4. So there you go. So looking at the scoring, right? We look at the points on the buildings that we've built. We'll hide these. We don't need these anymore. The buildings that we've built plus 1 point for each gold, a point for each weapon, half point for each iron, and I want to say that this is a half point for each ore that's left over. Oh no, it's gold. Oh, I see. Oh, so we should have scored. I forgot to score how much gold we had. I will do that in post, right? So I'll go ahead and put out the score that I would have had at the end of era 1, and then the score for era 2 is going to be score both of your caves together using the bottom half. So the buildings that we scored in era 2 essentially, or that we scored in era 1 score again in era 2. So we score all of our buildings, weapons, gold, everything, and then I'll just give you the final score. So I calculated a score of 153, not counting the gold that I had, which was, I'll show the final score there. So that's not quite the 180 points, but we're fairly close there. I'm trying to think about how this game went. I mean, we did target a lot of the bigger sized buildings in the end. Weapon chamber, dungeon. I did kind of feel like we maybe cut some corners efficiency wise. It did not quite get the amount of points, or I guess maybe could have gotten more gold or something like that. Um, I thought we did pretty well with trying to find some good combinations of some of these buildings, and but maybe some of the actions weren't the most efficient as possible. But anyway, let me know what you think of the game. If I got anything wrong, let me know as well as for all of those who watch this, just so they know how to play this correctly. That's more important than anything. But yeah, let me know what you think about this game, this playthrough, as well as your thoughts about Cave versus Cave in general. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you come back again and watch another playthrough or another review or whatever we have on this channel. Thank you.